This is a 12 Skyreach, blood decay stuff. So, it's going to be very standard pulls.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah. I will be talking about just kind of like defensives
5,
and
4,
setting up the
3,
pull.
2, 1.
I try and get into these pulls with vampiric blood when I can. So I'll blood boil here and get that stuff going quickly. So ideally I would want to do my Reaper's Mark before Dancing Rune Weapon. Just because Blood Boil counts as Shadow and Frost damage. Just to pop it quickly. So I'm setting up, I'm trying my best to Blood Boil for Hemostasis whenever I can. Hemostasis was going to make my Death Strike heal more and hit harder. And so most of the main loop is Vamp Blood, and then that will turn into Umbilicus Eternus. And pretty much Umbilicus Eternus is going to give you such a fat shield while people hitting this stuff before I'm like set up. Umbilicus Eternus is going to give you a huge shield, so you'll be pretty good not to worry too much while it's up. When it's not up, so it's like your stuff you're worried about here is Vamp Blood and Dancing Rune Weapon when you can. And then when Vamp Blood ends, you get Umbilicus Eternus as your next pretty much defensive. And when both of those are out and you're still taking a lot of damage and things are living, then you're starting to look at Icebound Fortitude. And yeah, she's like, you scare me. Sorry, that's distracting me. So I'm putting up Death and Decay whenever I can and Heart Striking to just bring up as much just rune power in, rune power out kind of thing. And then blood boiling, if I can, before Death Strike for Hemostasis. Right here, Hemostasis. And it will work for your Echo. So when you do the Empowered Blood Boil, you Blood Boil Death Strike, it'll Echo, and it'll give you it back again. So if you can, Empowered Blood Boil Death Strike, and then it'll give you it'll Blood Boil again, the Echo part of it, and that'll give you Hemostasis again. So, if possible, it is helpful. And I am pretty much every time worried about, very first thing I'm worried about is Vamp Blood. And then my next worry is getting Reaper's Mark up. Then I'm worried about Dancing Rune Weapon, applying blood boils to burst that Reaper's Mark as fast as possible. And then of course trying to maintain bone shield stacks and all that. One thing about my UI that I don't like, which I can probably fix, I don't like that this is always desaturated. Okay, now to talk, and this for some reason was up when it shouldn't be. One thing to talk about there is you can burst those knock-up circles with Death Advance. However, I would advise to put Anti-Magic Shell on so it doesn't do a bunch of damage to you. Damage was kind of low in this group, so things did live a long time, so it's kind of an extreme scenario of once your Vamp Blood, Umbilicus Eternus, and Dancing Weapon are done, you kind of have Icebound Fortitude, and that's it. The reason why we like to Vamp Blood early is because all your Death Strikes, however much runic power you're spending on Death Strike, is lowering the cooldown of Vamp Blood. So if you get it rolling early, you'll get Umbilicus Eternus early, and your Death Strikes will bring Vamp Blood back quick. So you can get it 2 to 3 times in a fight if it lasts a while. Oop, my baby toe hit that one. That's not something we like much. So this time I am going to hit these and anti-magic shell that. I think I step in this on accident. Yeah, I step in this. And there's a nasty bleed. Do not step in that. So I did Vamp Blood and Death Strike right away. Because I made an oopsie. Not really much to see here. A lot of your defensive capability is going to be, as I said, in Vamp Blood, Umbilicus Eternus, Gameplay Loop, Dancing Rune Weapon, and managing Hemostasis. And if I didn't say it, Hemostasis is going to be, if you blood boil up to 5 targets, you're going to get a Hemostasis stack for each mom. And every time it increases your Death Strike damage and healing by I think 5% each count of it, so up to 5 times. So I don't have Vamp Blood or Dancing Rune Weapon, so you can see I'm starting to get, or Vamp Blood or Umbilicus Eternus, so you can see I'm starting to get kind of hit. So that's why I put Icebound Fortitude, and the Healer Panic gives me rings. But it was probably a good call. I will say, Holy Priest is my least favorite healer this expansion so far. They seem to run out of mana, and they seem to have a hard time dealing with the damage scale of dungeons. So as they're running in, I blood boil to grab threat. I'm gonna put AMC for them, but these things are going to do the little circle, so I try to stay on the edge of it so they could still be in it for it. Because those solar constructs do pretty hard beams. And the healer does have to spot heal us pretty quick. Every personal heal can do is, greatly helpful. And on my thing here, this is damage done current, this is damage done overall. So as soon as I can figure out the desaturation issue on my, because I had to use a third-party thing to even add this. Blizzard doesn't have this on it, so I had to add it. But my overall usage is much less because it's desaturated. I mostly only use it for bosses now, which is not good. I should have it like on cooldown. So Death and Decay needs to be down like as much as possible. Not only just for hard strike and runic power economy, but we do get defensive capability from being in Death and Decay. Okay, for this fight, it's very easy for a tank. There's not much to know. Ideally, you don't want to be the one to soak a beam because of that frontal. And this first one, I think I soak one. See, I even tried to get out and be like, I'm not soaking. But then no one comes for this one. So I go do it. He gets healed. He gets healed while he's getting hit by beam. But it's hard to stay in it. While I'm worrying about the frontal, so ideally it's not the tank who does it. I even type here. I haven't even put my cooldown yet. Yeah, it's a problem. My brain is just so used to seeing desaturated as on cooldown. damage is kind of low, so these bosses do take a while. There's not much more to say on this boss. I will try and skip ahead just a bit here. Excuse this, because it does take a long time. Okay. Alright, this stuff can truck you if you're not, like, ready for the damage of so many things hitting you at once. So I'm going to Death Crest that one. I'm going to try and get them in here, and so I try and get the Reaper's Mark going for that wave of souls to hit everything and then travel back for more threat, and then Blood Boiling often for that AoE threat. And now I'm worried about the Mark for Death giving it to everybody, so I think I Gore Fiends to myself to just keep them away from who was marked for death. Right when Marked for Death goes out, you can drop a Death and Decay to slow everything if you have that talented, which can be helpful there. Okay, for this boss, Anti-Magic Shell, the Searing Claws, Burning Claws, and it does like no damage because it doesn't apply the magic dot. We're actually very good at this fight because we can grip them away from whoever's grabbed. So we can grip these things away, we can slow them, and we can AMZ this next phase. I think I opt to do like almost nothing there. Burning Claws, AMZ, or AMS. I don't know what he died to. So I try to see who it's on first. Because if it's on... Ooh, got away from me. If it's on that warrior, I don't want to pull it to me. So I tried to see who it was on first. That's why I was hesitating to like even grip it. Instead of like right off the rip. I don't know if it can be on the DPS or the melee. It's possible. This one I can get. Claws, AMZ, or AMS, why do I keep saying that? I will go a little bit ahead because there's not much to really know across that. I think she was out, yeah, she was out of it. So if you can, try not to disadvance like I just did, because you want both charges of Death Advance for the platform. So I'm gonna Nitro Boost here, which is a Northrend Tinker, but I can disadvance once. I'm scared of that one. But see, I run out. So you need to hold both charges of Death Advance, and that's actually almost kills me. You don't know, like, you can't see my hand, but my butthole was that freaking tight when, like, that happened. I was off the edge. It scared me. Okay. This next pull is pretty hard. So I did Dancing Rune Weapon to start and Vamp Blood. I probably shouldn't have Dancing Rune Weapon so early. I should have waited for Dancing Rune Weapon until I was pretty much there. Another trick you can do with Dancing Rune Weapon, especially when you're gathering, if there's a far target that you need threat on, you can click it, dance your weapon. It'll summon your copies of your weapon to that faraway mob. So when you blood boil, it will blood boil on that faraway mob and bring it to you with full threat. So if it's something that like can't be gripped or isn't great for that, you can dance your weapon a faraway mob and blood boil to it. If you didn't know that interaction, it is there. This can be a hard one too. So here I am. It's hard because people are doing damage fast, and I am trying to blood boil for threat. I am trying to stay alive. I'm trying to get runic power so I can death strike. I'm trying to put down death and decay. There's a lot of globals that need to be done quickly. So I see I have Umbilicus Eternus up, so I'm like, okay, I have a minute to gather runic power before I have to worry. It just ended, so now I'm going to start taking damage again. But now I have Dancing Rune Weapon back up, and Vampiric Blood is back up already. So I can start that whole cycle again. I probably didn't need it yet, but things are living too long, so... So, I usually double pull this one. I don't know if it's the correct call, but as these are coming in, I'm going to make sure to blood boil. It didn't work, so I'm going to blood boil a second time because people are kind of slamming quickly. So I gotta get Death and Decay down. And I'm kind of in trouble here because I don't have enough runic power. I'm trying not to Icebound Fortitude. I'm trying to hold out for Vamp Blood Umbilicus Eternus. So when I have Umbilicus up, I know my health is going to be pretty stable for a while. It actually ran out of the shield pretty early. So now I'm going to think about Icebound Fortitude. Do I do it here? Did I actually just hold off? Vamp Blood's already up again, so maybe not. Yeah, maybe I didn't need it. Past me knew better. Oh, and then that guy pulled for me, which got him killed. I tried to pull threat for him, but it didn't work. Just trying to kick what I can, and then I can just trying my best to have hemostasis up, which again is right here. Every time I blood boil, hemostasis comes up, and then you spend it with Death Strike for empowered, like more healing, more damage. That is if you have it talented, which I would argue is pretty mandatory on the hierarchies. But you know, people can do what they want. And how big your Umbilicus Eternus shield is going to be is based on your Blood Plague damage. So the more instances of Blood Plague damage you can have, so if you have like a huge pull, and you have like 3 instances up on like a huge pull, your Umbilicus is going to be huge, and it's probably going to last the entire time. Keep in mind that that is a shield for physical damage, which most of your damage is going to be physical, so it's good, but it won't help you with magical. We fill those gaps with AMS and rune card plates and all that stuff, yeah. Okay, so I like to tank this somewhat in the middle of the room. When the bird comes out to pick someone up, I try and move him to that player and slow the bird. I just immediately change to it. For some reason I wasn't hitting it, and I'm just sitting here clicking it, like, what's happening? I don't know why. Every other time in this fight, it works. I don't know what was happening. Maybe it just wasn't close enough. So ideally, I would like, I don't know how other people take this. I like people to put this fire off to the sides if they can, or like somewhat around, because I like to kind of use this area for the bird interaction. So I will icy change these and swap to it. I AMZ for the burning dot there. I don't know if it actually helped. The damage is really low for bosses, and I don't know why, but they are. Let's see what that guy he just made himself have to go the long way there.
We will cast you down like a mouse.
But yeah, this is a bummer. This has been just sitting there. And then that's the whole fight. I need to spend runic power more often. I need to dancing rune weapon less often. It's worth it to know I am using for my rune weapon, Rune of Sanguination. And unlike Fallen Crusader, it doesn't give any defensive benefit. So there's nothing wrong with Fallen Crusader. There's nothing wrong with Stone Skin Gargoyle for like more defensive value. Rune of Sanguination increases your death strike damage by a significant amount, and it's based on how much health they have. Like, so if they're almost dead, it'll do more damage. And we have Death's Reach, which lets us death strike our main target, and it'll death strike 2 other targets at like 75%. So it's a lot of damage throughout the fight. Anyways, thanks for stopping by. I'll see you guys in the next one. Let me know if there's anything else you want to, that you want me to focus on. It's good to be back, and see you later. Thanks.